Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Dream Oracle for You. I am your host, Sarah. And as always, we have my lovely co host, Biljana, on the call. And as you see today, the number of oracles in the clouds has multiplied, and we have returning guests, both Alexis and Urania, joining us from the Journey to the Innerverse podcast. And we are so excited for today's episode. We're always excited for every episode, but I feel like the excitement just keeps ramping up with every single episode. Today's topic is going to be exploring what exactly dream walking is. It's something that can happen, examples and where we might have seen it in pop culture, and we're just gonna, as always, let the conversation flow. First up, though, Biljana, please welcome us to the show.
Yeah, I'm excited with this chat because these guys have been on before, and it's good to just catch up and reconnect and see where you guys are at with the crazy world at the moment and everything that's happening and I'd love to hear about where you guys are at, what you've been doing with your own podcast and also like in your own businesses and your own lives and not just about dreams, but a little bit about everything. So yeah, whoever wants to start, go for it.
Do you want to go?
Sure. So, we actually this week, or when we're, I guess, recording this, right? We are starting the second year of our podcast, which we decided to like break it up into seasons just to kind of switch the vibe a little bit. And so that's been really, really exciting. And also, we forgot to mention this the last time we were here, but we have been working within a dream app, a dream sharing app called Dreamigos, in which we are one of, I think it's seven of us, seven dream experts. So we help to decode or interpret the user's dreams. We also have a free dream circle once a month, and it's a growing app. It's still somewhat in development, but it's already like very active, and it's been incredible connecting with people in their dreams and seeing the different themes that come up over a period of time. And so we've been really connecting with people who are really excited about dreams and dream work. And it's really cool to see the dream community grow and grow and grow, like in the app and then with our connection here. And just beyond that, it's been really exciting. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here for another episode. And we're going to have you on our podcast too. We've been moving really slow with that, but this year, we're going to be on top of it. So definitely stay tuned for that.
Awesome. We'll be looking for the communication on that. Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a really, really
What was
busy
the app
year.
that you said? Sorry.
What's that?
Dreamigos.
Oh, the app?
What was the app? Yeah.
Dreamigos. Dream egos,
Dream
like a
Ego.
mix between dream and amigos. Yeah.
Ah.
Sweet. You'll
Yeah,
have to
cool.
send the link
All
and
right.
we'll include it in the show
Yeah, I'll
notes so
share it.
people
Yeah,
can
that would
check
be
out.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a really busy year for us and in our own personal lives, but also with the podcast and with season 2 approaching and actually occurring now. Having more guests on is definitely something that we really are leaning into trying to get to come to fruition. And working with the app is great too. I am one of the co-hosts for this upcoming dream circle. Myself and another dream expert, Andrea, we're going to be leading the dream circle talking about lucid dreaming. So that's tomorrow night at 8 p.m. And so that's really exciting. I love lucid dreaming. I love the topic. Andrea, she's great, and she's really knowledgeable of lucid dreaming as well. So yeah, it's cool. It's a cool app. It's a cool community. I love that there's a space where people can come together and learn about each other through the dream space. One of the cool things about the app that we work on is that it's not AI. Like there's nothing on it that's AI. So all the dream experts who are there commenting on the dreams are real people, which is really nice. For myself, I have a art show coming up, which I'm really excited about. And the whole collection that I'm showing is a representation of my life with one foot in the dream realm and one foot in the waking realm. So I'm super excited about that. But other than that, just living day to day.
Amazing. Oh, we're so excited to have both of you here, and it's really exciting to hear the wonderful things that you guys are doing and expanding this dream circle and dream world. Yeah, we'll definitely share all the details about your app so people can reach out to you and have their dreams interpreted and all of that good stuff. So very, very exciting. I must say, you are our first returning guests on this podcast. So congratulations on being the first to return, and very excited that
Thank
you've
you.
agreed to return, which means my normal flow and how I run an episode is totally uncharted territory right now. So bear with me as I don't ask the normal questions. Where do we want to start with dream walking? Do we just want to jump right in? Maybe what your thoughts are on them? Do you have any experience with it? I don't know. It's so like I when I reached out to Urania, I was just like, it's a very broad, possibility. It's just for us to talk about. So where shall we start?
Well, I thought it was interesting when I presented the topic to Alexis. We were both kind of like, okay, so exactly what is it, which is what we're going to discuss in our experience with it. But initially, my impression was that it was astral travel, which I've seen that like definition out there. But then when you shared a little bit more, Sarah, of just like what you've come across, what you've learned about it thus far, like a lot of it actually through media, it was more so focused on um, entering someone else's dream and then like intentionally, not just by accident. And so that really piqued my interest even more because I was like, wait, have I done that? And I know I haven't necessarily done it done it through dreams intentionally, except with Alexis, which that could have been also like just dream sharing in general, because we both were like made the intention to do it at the same time. Um, but I have actually done that while I've been in trance meditation and I knew the person was dreaming because this person is in Australia and I am in the United States. So I was like, oh, this is my meditation time. So I'm going to go into this person's dream and, just send them some good vibes and so that was interesting when I had that realization. I was like, wait a minute, I think I've actually attempted this. And as far as having the confirmation, I know there was one because I did it a few times, maybe like probably like 2 or 3 times. And I know there was like at one point the person said that they ended up contacting me and we hadn't talked for probably like at least over a week. And so I was like, oh, look at that synchronicity that I heard from them, in the same time period within 24 hours of me, I guess walking into their dream if that actually happened. So, but I didn't think to ask, oh, what did you dream about? Because I didn't really think about it in that way until just now, like, preparing for this chat. So that was pretty cool.
For sure. So you don't actually know if she had dreamt and you were in her dream or not.
Right.
Okay. Next time.
Right. I mean, and it's been over a year. So it's like, that would be really, I'm like, they probably wouldn't remember. So,
I really appreciate you earlier reaching out about the SpongeBob episode, Sleepy Time. And I sent it to you. I was able to find it. So I actually sat there this afternoon and I watched the 15-minute episode of SpongeBob. It's probably the most SpongeBob I've actually watched in my life. Nice. I'd like to admit, but that was quite interesting because when you talk about, you always thought of it being kind of astral travel. I kind of felt like a little bit in the SpongeBob episode, that's kind of how they were portraying it because he was like still sleeping, but then there was like a etheric version of him that was then jumping into everybody's little dream bubbles, I guess you would call. But he pissed everybody off. They're like, we see enough of you during the day, SpongeBob. We don't need to see you at night.
It's so funny because when Urania brought this up, now I had mentioned this episode of SpongeBob a while ago, just because I was like, we talk about dreams in media, and I have a whole list of fun media that references the dream space, and that was an episode that I had watched when I was a little kid and really liked. So we had talked about it in the past. And then when you had reached out to us, Urania was like, oh, we're going to do an episode and we're going to talk about dream walking. I'm like, this immediately reminds me of this episode. And it's so funny because I watched this witch on YouTube. Her name is Kellyanne Maddox. And she does something called I don't I don't want to like offend anyone with this, but she basically addresses people who are quote unquote ex witches and kind of talk down and wrongly about witchcraft. And one of the things that those ex witches were talking about were like, oh, when I was a witch, I would go into people's dreams and I would cause anxiety and anger and purposely like mess with them, and like that's why you can't be, that's why witches are bad, because like I was doing this. And I was like, well, that's your decision to do those things. So you're kind of taking zero accountability for your own actions and interest in harming others that way. But that's essentially what SpongeBob did in that episode, was jump from dream to dream and just be bothersome and ruin the experience. And like, it just makes me laugh every time I think about it. I have only intentionally done this once, and it was again with Urania at the yurt we were staying at for her birthday. And it was brief, like I was there, she was there, but like there wasn't, I don't remember being, it being even a long dream. Like I feel like we entered the yurt and then that was kind of it for me.
Yeah.
But it's not really something that I think about either, aside from, Urania and I have talked about previously meeting up just, for fun, meeting up in the dream space. But we've been so busy this past year, I have forgotten every single time, I almost immediately after I bring it up or you bring it up. But it's so interesting. And, if I'm being totally honest, aside from like, friends, I don't know if it's something I'd be interested in doing outside of that. I don't know if I would want to just like randomly go into someone else's dream who I wasn't like friends with and would talk about it and plan it, It's something a little ethically on my end, just jumping in someone else's dream.
That's a fair call. I wouldn't really want to do that anyway. Yeah. But like, I was just thinking, and I started reading this book, The Source Field Investigations by David Wilcock. And, everything is energy, and we're all energy and everything. So is it, when we dream and someone in our dream pops up, not necessarily you intentionally wanting them in the dream, isn't it that they're really there? Like their soul, their energy is actually in your dream, regardless if you intentionally did it or not. I don't know. That's just a thought that's just come to mind.
Can you ask the question again? I just want to make sure I got the question.
So when you have a dream about someone, and it's especially if it's a real vivid one. So like if I dreamt about, someone I haven't seen for a month or so, but it's a very vivid dream. You feel like you experienced it and you felt like they were there with you, if like you're in, when you're awake. Do you think that can be like a form of dream walking, but it's not intentional? It's the unconscious.
So what I found when I was looking up dream walking is the intentional aspect of like
Yeah, okay.
planning to do it. And then there's dream sharing, which is unintentional or unconsciously doing it. So I mean, I have no doubt that I've unintentionally traveled, because I travel all the time. Intentionally, I haven't really played around with, but I know that unintentionally, I have traveled around quite a bit.
Yeah, myself
So,
as well. I'm always dream traveling everywhere, timelines and everything. So it's yeah. You were gonna say something, Urania. I think I might
yeah,
have
I
cut
was
you.
gonna say this is an interesting just thing to think about too, where it's like consciously, like in this reality, it doesn't seem intentional, but then how are we to know like our soul didn't have that intention? So then it can kind of, it can, yeah, we can speculate, and I don't know, it's just an interesting way to shift the perspective where it's like, okay, consciously here now, no, I'm not intentionally doing that, but then maybe our soul has different intentions, especially when we think about the type of dreams we have, and the way our psyche is communicating with us and helping us to heal through certain things or to uncover things, and also travel about for various reasons. If we do find ourselves in, someone else's dreams, I'm sure there's a reason. So then again, it's like, are these kind of dreams just dream walking in general? Like, can it be that broad? Or, so it's a matter of, I guess, like, how we define these things. And it's a matter of definition that kind of creates a separation, but it might really just all be, dream walking when we're in someone else's dream or someone else is in our dream. And I do feel that I think the more vivid and the more impressionable and profound the dream is, I think that will more than likely point to that being like a dream walking experience, at least from my perspective. And when I was researching, how do you know if you have walked into someone's dream, or, someone has walked into your dream? And that was the indicators of, the vividness, the lucidity, the feeling. You just kind of know once you like, I think if, yeah. Because sometimes I'll have recurring, like lately I've been having recurring dreams about an ex-boyfriend. And at this point, I know it's not him. It's an aspect. It's like just like his persona as a reflection of myself, and what that means for me, us as like, ex or partners in the dream, because we tend to be together in the dream, at least recently. And that was a whole saga, because I literally um became lucid and talked to him, like seeing him in a dream. I knew, like, I had already set the intention beforehand, and I was like, I want to talk to this person. They're always in my dream. Why are they here? And when he popped in my dream again after that, I immediately like gained lucidity, and then I tried to talk to him and I could never get to him. And in that whole experience, I realized that it wasn't really him. It was basically a shell, is what it felt like in that dream. So like now I kind of can discern a little bit better when someone's spirit or soul is in my dream, such as my deceased grandmother. Like I know when she's definitely there, versus like, like someone, a friend or an ex, that's kind of like a reflection of whatever the lesson or the energy is that's being presented to me for the wisdom of the dream. So I think that's a good way to also kind of get an indicator of like, is this a dream walking experience or not?
Yeah, so
I
you're
think what,
looking.
oops,
Oh,
sorry.
sorry. No, you go.
I was just gonna say, I think it's interesting too, because if we look at it like a little deeper, I don't remember who the person was who said this, but it was a man who had fallen asleep and he had a dream that he was a butterfly, and when he woke up, he was questioning whether he was the butterfly having a dream of being a human, or a human having a dream of being a butterfly. And what dreaming means, and the different aspects of reality. And you know are we entering another person's dream, or are we entering another reality, or are we entering multiple dimensions? Like it just kind of, you can go so deep with all of the different aspects and around the topic. um yeah, it's really interesting. This whole conversation is always just intriguing.
Yeah, absolutely. My brain is like going in like 50 directions right now. I'm like, okay, pick a direction, Sarah, and let's go. Um, I like that you talk about like, oh, is it different realities or different dimensions? And I actually was going to bring that up a little bit earlier, is we are multidimensional beings, right? We are here in this physical reality right now. We're in this Zoom call, but there's other fragments or aspects of ourself that exist in parallel timelines and other dimensions, other realities, other universes, if you're into the multiverse. And what connects it all is consciousness. That's what really connects it all. And so I feel that when you dream, number one, you automatically are accessing other dimensions, because we are currently in the third dimension and everything is physical here. And so to access other dimensions, you're accessing other areas of consciousness that are in higher dimensions. But when you're doing that, you're also accessing other aspects of yourself. You have access to everybody. Anybody who has a conscious, you're accessing. And then it kind of ties in with what Biljana was saying in the book she's reading. What was that? The source field investigation or something. How everything is just energy. And so, yeah, so where does that tie in with dream walking? From everything that's been said so far, I like, Alexis, that you broke it up into there's unintentional and intentional dream walking, where the intentional one is like, yes, that is something you can actually intentionally do. And I actually have an example to share about that. That I'll share in a few minutes. And then the unintentional one is maybe just what dreaming is in general. You're just accessing the higher dimensions and the layers of consciousness and going wherever, what aspects of your soul feel like you need to go to have that experience. Because something that's been kind of reoccurring as a theme on our show is the idea that dreams are really just other experiences that our souls are having, basically.
I love that. And Urania, you mentioned something. I literally just had it and it left my brain. I was thinking about it, but I was listening to you and it swept my brain up. But I'll go back to that if it comes back. But there's also this aspect too of like, when we wake up, are we really waking up in the reality we went to sleep in? Like I question that often. It's like, if there are multiple universes, multiple realities, whatever, maybe the differences from one to the next are so minute that you don't know that you're in a different universe when you wake up from your dream space. And like, so are you ever really returning to that same place, or are you just continuously moving through different universes that kind of line up with where you're going? This is something I feel like we can go really, really deeply into. And I still didn't get that the memory back from what I was listening. I took from what Urania said and it just went away. So hopefully that comes back. But sorry about that.
No, don't be sorry. It'll come out when it's meant to, and I'm sure it'll
I got
circle
it.
back.
It's back. Okay. So the other thing that you mentioned was that you don't know if your soul has other intentions than your than when you're conscious versus when you're unconscious, which I think is really interesting, because will you ever know? So then what is the line between intentional and unintentional if you never know what's going on with that? Like, it's just, I feel like it's so fluid and so, I don't know, almost unanswerable. Like yes, it's just happening. That's it.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. This conversation's
I like
amazing.
that. Well, I think it's if we try not to grasp like what like the whole bigger picture is, and kind of just when it comes to like your own dreams, focusing your own energy and what you want to get out of it, I think that's the only way we're going to, suppose, fully understand. Like, if we're trying to understand the bigger picture, we're just going to go crazy, because there's so many possibilities, and no one really knows like, we can't put a finger on like what dreams are and what this place is, and we're just kind of fumbling. I feel like we're fumbling around in the dark trying to get answers. But yeah, I think for me, I've been less trying to understand if there's different dimensions or realms, and focusing on like what I can do in my dream space, like for my own healing, or like heal my family, or that sort of thing. And so this conversation is really good, because it's given me a perspective of looking at it in a different way. So yeah, cool.
because, we've touched a little bit on how dream walking can be nefarious, all the way to the SpongeBob episode to, other examples that might have been discussed. But is there a way that dream walking can intentionally, consciously, in this physical reality, intentionally be done for healing, for helping other people, yourself and family members or friends or whatnot? And I feel the answer to that question is definitely a yes.
So how would you, I'm sorry, Biljana, how do you, like, how would you or how do you um use dream walking to help like family per se? Like what, I don't know if that question is, yeah, how
No,
what
no,
is
I
your
get that. I get that.
what is your technique, or like what have you done or what would you do?
So, especially for like myself and my family, because I see like patterns like through my whole family, like similar struggles that we all have. And so I think like helping myself and then helping them will help like past and future generations. So, um, I suppose it's like living out um, conversations that I maybe am not ready to have with them in this space that I do in the dream space. And I think like not not trying to be logical with the situations and kind of allow it to play out in my dreams. So like setting the intention before I go to bed, and like say if I want to, talk about something with my brother that maybe I'm not ready to talk about, or he's not ready to talk about, and we can do that in the dream space. I'm aware of it, but he may not be consciously aware in this space. But energy is being affected. We're healing in that way, and so yeah, so it's almost like a therapy session without really doing it, physically doing it. So if that makes sense.
So when you have these experiences, then like within, a certain amount of time, like maybe it'll be brought up in the waking space, kind of inspired by not knowing maybe, but inspired by what was experienced in that dream space. That's actually a great idea. That's a great idea for not only just like trying to push, not not in a negative way, but kind of trying to push um these conversations to come up in the waking space in time, but also, yeah, like you said, that kind of like that practice, that letting that flow, like it not being logical, kind of going and allowing yourself to acclimate to the pain it might bring up, to prepare yourself for down the line when it actually happens. Because I think that when we have conversations, especially with family, it can be very emotional and very like hurtful at times. So having the ability to kind of do it in the dream space can really prepare you and give you a little bit more of a expectation for what it might result in the waking space.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I had a dream about my brother the other day. So I'll just finish
oh
and
no,
then I'll
you
let
go.
you go. um, I had a dream about him the other day, and then last night I had a video call with my mum and my sister, and he come up in the conversation, and there was less, I suppose, anger towards him, and more like, oh, I'll give him a call and we can have a chat. So whether he came into my dream or just on, my energy was ready to take it on and I suppose deal with that because yeah, we all got to be ready and capable at some stage. So it's yeah. So that was quite interesting. That's why I brought it up, because it only happened yesterday, and but there's been other times, and I thought, rather than trying to understand everything else, like trying to understand ourselves and the people around us is a better way to fix everything, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely it's definitely like a more grounded approach for sure. And I definitely resonate with that method, Biljana, is that's basically what I do when it comes to meditation. Can you guys hear me? Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I will often have a conversation like in my and so when I do it, I'm more in like a deep trance, like meditation. It's a part of my meditation practice. And so on the occasion I'm thinking about, there was a conversation that was had in the mind, as I knew they were going through some things, and then there was likely something going on between us two. I can't, and I've done this actually with a few others. And I will also, in that same session, I will send them like healing energy, like it's coming through me, like channeling in light, and also channeling that in for them. And I know, like, there's just a knowing that they will receive that when it is in alignment for them to receive it. And, my understanding is the same thing where, the conversation might not ever come up, but the dynamic and the energy around, the circumstance or the relationship will reflect that healing. Even if the person would consciously resist it, their soul, especially when you're sending from a space of pure love and like good intentions and the healing for, everyone involved, like their soul will receive that, and it will, help them in a beneficial way when it's meant to, or yeah, in the way it's intended to. And I have seen, with some people, now one person I'm thinking, we just have never reconnected. um, but I also just hope that the blessings that I send in trying to heal that, connection is received. And I'm confident. I trust that it is. But that's a beautiful way to work with someone, and, it not being like an unethical, interaction. So yeah, I love that.
Doesn't have to be like confrontational, or like you don't have to talk it all out. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
think that's just too old school. I think
Yeah.
that's when it becomes all in the mind rather than just from within. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with all of you. And I mean, I say this all the time. Every night is an opportunity to have an 8-hour therapy session. So with the dream space. Oh,
I don't even know if you can really, I like, it's at this point it's not even just an opportunity. I feel like it's gonna happen. It's just whether or not you, like, in the waking space, are recognizing it.
I agree with that. That really resonates. And it's probably part of the reason why we even have to sleep 8 hours. It's because we have to, if we are multidimensional, I believe we are multidimensional beings. We exist in multiple timelines, multiple realities, all stacked on top of each other, having all these different experiences. And it's the only way to, let's back up. Another part of me may exist in another 3D version, right? So, if for just trying to quantify, if you have like your actual like complete soul is broken up into, like, I don't know, 10 fragments, it's probably a whole lot more, but just for a number, if you're broken up into 10 fragments and you exist in 10 different realities, 3 different 3D realities, but you're all connected to your higher self or your bigger conscious, whatever you want to call it, then you have 10 different experiences and realities that you're living in. And what connects you is being in the higher conscious state, which you only access through the dream state. And I know myself personally, I have woken up, or I've been in a dream, and in my dreams I'm almost always like it's me, but it's not like I'm like looking at my body and, seeing if it's actually me in this physical 3D reality. And I think I talked about it in one other episode once before, but I had like I was in a bathroom, always in a bathroom when I'm traveling through dream space for whatever reason. And I looked in the mirror and I knew that I was looking at myself, like it was my energy, it was my essence. But who was in the mirror was not this physical Sarah that you see right now. My skin color was a different color. My eyes were big and beautiful, like huge eyes. But I had the smile that I typically have. And it was just like me looking at myself in the mirror and just being like, I'm looking at myself somewhere else. Like this is not who I am in this physical reality. So um don't know where that connects, but I meant to share that. So
No, I love that. I know that I travel all the time. Like for myself, I truly believe and know that I travel. And not that long ago, I had shared this on our podcast. But I had a dream where within the dream I went and traveled through essentially a portal to another dimension. And it was so interesting and intriguing, and like, I mean, to the point where, like, I don't know, the background behind the other universe and what it was meant for and how it was connected, and it's so intriguing and interesting. Like, I've just had so many experiences in the dream space that I just can't deny it anymore. And I find that it's so interesting that dreaming doesn't have concrete answers to it. The flow is really beautiful and it's multi-purposeful. And I love that. I love that. I think it's just it's a tool, like a beautiful biological gift and tool that, I would love to see the majority of the world really tap into and, get in contact with themselves on a deeper level. um the community is growing, but at a snail's pace, it seems. And at least compared to like civilizations prior, like thousands of years ago, when dreaming was more important to society, I feel like once people tap back in, we can find some more flow in the waking space.
yeah, beautiful. Don't know how to follow that one up. Oh, it's
Do
yeah,
you guys have any dreams that you would like to share, like recently that you've had, that not necessarily about dream walking, but like feel that it's been very like a vivid one, or something that's really helped you healing or anything like that lately?
Yeah, I have one this morning. And Alexis, when you mentioned, do we even wake up in the same reality? Like that really resonated. And I shared this dream with you this morning, Alexis, but I'll share it here.
Please do.
That I woke up and I was at my mother's house and I was like, I need to do some work on my computer. And so I went into a different room. And then a friend from, I mean, like 20 years ago that I used to work with, she like came in the room, and there were these big windows behind us. And outside of the window was a trail, like a nature trail, basically. And she was like, oh, I want to go, check this out. And then I was like down for it. And then we were just outside, and we were like, had walked. It was clear that we had walked for some time. And then she kind of looked over in the distance, and there was like basically a cliff, and there were people, like around it. And just like, it was another trail, but it was like definitely kind of dangerous. And I was like, oh yeah, we don't need to go over there. I was like, that's a whole nother thing. Like, we should probably just head back because I got to like work or something. And so we started to walk back, but the trail was kind of like, it was similar from like when we first started on it, but we knew that we weren't going back to the house. Like, there was no getting there, or maybe we were lost. It was just not very clear. And then we ran into someone and we just asked them, like, hey, like, we're trying to get back home, like kind of asking them for help. And they mentioned, they were like, oh, well, if you want to get back home, then you have to go on the other side, like basically where she was looking, you have to go that way. And you have to walk along this wall of like it was a stone wall, but it was basically, that was like it. There was just like sky on the sides of it. And they also said, if you complete it, like if you make it basically through that without falling off, you'll incarnate like into your home, like you'll reincarnate or something. And I was like, ugh, I was like so nervous and scared. And I was just like, all right, but I need to go home. So let's just do this. So we make it over on the other side, and my friend was really excited. I was really nervous, and she was like, "Oh, do you want to pull a tarot card before we do it?" And I was like, "No, because if it's a bad card, that's gonna just mess me up, and I'm gonna lose my balance or whatever." So she pulled the cards anyways, and she got the 9 of Swords, and I believe I got the 4 of Swords. Like, it was a swords card, and it was a relatively good one. So, and that's the card that I pulled last night. So I was like in waking life. And so I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And then so she went first, and she made it on, at this point, they were now pillars of stone and not a straight wall. And there was also, the further you go, it was a cliff, but there was somehow water there, right? And so she fell off, but she was attached to like a bungee cord. So they were like, "Oh, you're out, you're disqualified. Like, you can probably try again later." And we also had to roll this dice or something. And so I rolled and I got the number 13. And they were like, "Oh my goodness, like, this is a special number." And basically, all the stones dropped flat so it was like to the ground. There was like no more water. So basically, I just had to like step on the stones and not like step on the rest of the ground. So it was a lot easier for me, and I made it to the other side, and like everyone, because there were other, like, there were guides and stuff there, and they were like, "Yeah, like, you made it." And so then I was entering back into my home, and it was like I was on the bottom floor and I was like going up. My brother was there, but he didn't really say anything. So I was like, okay. And then I went upstairs, and my mom greeted me, and she was like so happy and light. And then my ex, that's always been in my dreams, he was there, and like it was the same vibe, and everything felt like my energy and my frequency was raised, and I was like in a, like, what you would say, like a higher timeline or something like that. And so my impression of that dream, because I've been kind of having similar dreams like that recently within the past like week or so. And I know in my waking life, I've made like a big breakthrough with limiting beliefs and so forth. And so that was kind of, the way I interpreted that, just like acknowledging that. And I do, like, in my waking life, feel that I'm in like a different timeline. Like, I just feel like I've tuned into this like specific reality that is more in alignment with my soul's desires, and a lot less resistance and so forth. And so I think I felt like that reflected in my dream space, which is really cool.
Oh my goodness, I love that. Absolutely love that. And I love the kind of gamification, if you will, of the
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
experience, but also love the numerology that's coming through. I'm sure Georgina would love to listen to this episode and feel into the
I would
numbers
love to
if
hear
you know
that.
who Georgina Grace is. Sorry?
I said, I don't think so, but I'll be
Yeah.
looking at the comments to
Yeah,
see if
yeah.
anything pops up.
Yeah, maybe I'll tag her. So she was in one of our earlier episodes. I can't remember which episode it is now because we're on episode 41 and 22. Maybe she was in episode 22. I think it's a while ago. So she's a numerology expert. So she does numerology courses and classes, and so we had her on to discuss numerology and dreams. And so you spoke about the tarot cards. You got the 9 energy and the 4 energy. Although the 9 energy wasn't exactly, I don't think it was exactly for you. It was more for your friend. You have the 4 energy, and then you roll the 13, which is 1 and 3, which is also
Yeah.
4.
That's
So
interesting.
yeah, so you've got the 1 energy coming through, which is good because that's like I only know very, very minimal surface level numerology. I don't know the in depth like Georgina does, but my understanding is the 1 energy is kind of like that kind of leadership and kind of taking command of and control, and it has a little bit of masculine aspect to it as well. And then the 3 energy is all about freedom and truth. And I might be getting that mixed up with the 5 energy though. I think
No,
3,
you're
4.
right. You're right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I know a little bit about it too. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the 4 energy, this one's the one that I usually have a little bit of trouble with because like I know the 2 energy is like the feminine energy and like love, and then 2 is encompassed in 4. So it's almost like the 4 is like 2 on steroids.
Yeah. And it's like that stabilizing energy and like security. But it's interesting when you said 4, like the 4 card, and then with the 13, coming to 4. 44 is actually like my number. My life path number is 8, but 44 specifically, it's like I put 44 on like so many things. So that just clicked for me. I was like, oh shoot, 4 and 4. Okay. So thank
That,
you.
oh yeah, I didn't even pick up on that part, but I'm also like dumbfounded right now that we've not had the conversation about 44 before, because 44 is also like it's in everything for me as well. Like it comes up. It's
Wow.
a very much a guiding number in many aspects of my life. And if it's not a guiding number that's like just showing up in places, it's something that I intentionally add to,
Yeah.
like
Same.
a username or something, right? It'll just have the 44 kind of
Same.
thing in there. So
Yeah.
that's fascinating.
Yeah. We'll have to talk later about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Bye.
Ponder that one on the side,
Yeah.
definitely. Oh my goodness, cool.
What's your interpretation of was it the Four of Swords? What would you
The
interpret
Four of
that as?
Swords makes a lot of sense, because to me that's my meditation card, and I have fallen out of my meditation practice. And like I said, I pulled that card last night before bed. I did a reading, and that was the energy coming in, like in the position of energy coming in, and then it showed up in my actual dream. And so yeah, I think that was an invitation to, just get out of the mind, meditate, because in the dream I was a bit anxious when it came to like walking, but I thought it was interesting that everything, it was so much easier for me. Like it just leveled out because I had that number 13. And so to me, that felt like a reminder to, get back into my meditation practice and to like slow down a bit, take more rest. And so, yeah, that made sense. And I actually followed the guidance. I meditated today. I found the time. So that that feels
Yeah,
good.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. And it's like, because
That's
you
what.
mentioned,
Yeah.
I don't know if this was as part of the dream or like the precursor to your dream, how things in your life currently are kind of aligning and you're feeling in like a higher frequency, higher timeline, whatever that is. And so you really kind of see that progression through the dream as well,
Yeah.
because there was a little bit of anxiety and uncertainty with the path that you were going, but then all of a sudden, well, you rolled the 4, I guess, or the 1 and the 3, and then all of a sudden it just you everything lined up and you got easier. I mean, I from what I was understanding, you said they were like pillars, so I was just picturing literally pillars and open space, kind of like a Mario game going on,
Yeah, exactly. Yes. That is
that you would have to
exactly how
like
it went. Jump,
jump across
jump.
and fall down, and instead it's just all the pillars were then leveled to ground and you were just had
Yeah, there
basically.
was no cliff, there was no water. It was just like I just had to make sure I landed in the little squares basically,
Yeah,
which was
so all of your stepping stones were all lined up basically, so
yeah,
it's
yeah. It's pretty
it's
wild.
it's amazing. Very cool.
Yeah.
um okay, I want to bring back to dream walking a little bit, because I teased earlier I had something I wanted to a story I wanted to share. So this falls more, because I guess we've really have covered a lot of ground in unintentional dream walking, if you will.
Mm.
So intentional dream walking, and I don't know if I should talk about, maybe I'll talk about the media sources first, and then I'll talk about a real life example. So I might be talking for a few minutes, so bear with me. If you want to say something, just interrupt me and we can cut or go from there. Because this might end up being a big monologue, and I'm sorry. I just a disclaimer right at the beginning. So the whole,
Don't apologize.
well, yeah, okay. I won't apologize. I'm just speaking my truth, right? So the whole like idea from this for this episode really came up for me when I was watching Wheel of Time very recently. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with Wheel of Time. It's a whole book series, but they just recently had, like, I think it was on Netflix or some online streaming service. And in the later seasons, I won't spoil too much, but there is this whole concept of dream walking. And there's both like light and dark magical beings within the show. And the darker forces, they're actually called the Forsaken, and there's several different ones. They're kind of like almost like demonic entities in a way, although they don't actually look demon, but they work for darker forces. And one of the abilities of a Forsaken, or this particular Forsaken, is they can actually enter anybody's dream. So, and they can just appear. They actually kind of wait for you to go to sleep so that they can then enter your dream space and, kind of like the SpongeBob thing, just create havoc. But really it's to bring fear and anxiety and all of that. And the dreams that you have, the dream experiences you have in the show are very realistic. And then there's some light beings, I would say, where she is a dream walker, so she does have the ability to travel to different dreams, but she has not learned to like control it yet. And so she's working with, I forget what they're called, but there's some kind of, guides or oracles or whatnot that work that basically train you or teach you how to do this. And they like actually put you to sleep. You're in kind of like a safe space. There's a whole ritual that's involved to get you to this point of being able to dream walk. And part of the reason she was learning to do this is so that she could basically combat or control what's happening when the Forsaken is showing up in her dream. So it's to kind of, battle that out, I guess. But there was this whole thing, and I don't know, sometimes there's truth in fantasy things. There's like minor bits of truth, but some of it is, not necessarily true. So I don't know where the line is here. But part of what can happen is when you dream walk, and yeah, so when you dream walk, you have to be very careful, because it's almost like if you die when you're dream walking within the dream space, it actually can kill you in real life, which was like just this like mind-blowing thing. I don't think that's actually reality for us. I think that would be I think we would hear more about it if that was true. But it just got me thinking about this idea of dream walking, and especially, related to the podcast and everything. I was like, oh, we need to do an episode on this. I'll pause before I go to the second media reference just to see if anybody has anything they want to say. Or not.
Well, I've seen
Oh,
that TV series, because you mentioned it. I was like, you know what? I like a bit of fantasy because I relate to that more than I do like real life TV series. And anything like any like shooting and killing and stuff I hate. So yeah, it was quite interesting watching that
oh,
about the dream walking.
I didn't know you watched it. Oh, cool.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So yeah, I was watching it because you mentioned it like had about dream walking and stuff. So that was quite interesting. And there's a movie that it's similar, that they intentionally go into each other's dreams, and so that there's obviously something to it. I'm not sure about the, dying in your dream and then dying in your when you're awake, but I think it's more so it you wake up affected in some way.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, which is an
but yeah,
extension of
that's all
what
I
we
have to say.
always say, how your dream experiences definitely impact your waking experiences, because really your dream space and your waking space is just all extensions of your actual multidimensional self. So anything come across for you, Urania or Alexis, with that one? If not, I can move on to the next one.
That show has been on my list to watch. I do prefer fantasy over anything else. I do relate to it more. Even like action movies, like I tell my husband, I'm like, I don't want to watch an action movie unless it's a magical action movie. Like if there's no magic, then I don't want to watch like just some random people doing like brutal things. Like I don't need to whatever. But that has been on my list for quite some time, and it makes me think about other shows too that jump into the dream space. I mean, we had talked about previously the dreaming in, oh, House of Dragons, and how that played a role, and also how dreaming has played a role in other things like the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and just how it comes through, and what the essential theories or understanding of it would be. But because I haven't seen it yet, and it's like one of those things too where I'm like, I want to invest my time and energy into really sitting and like paying attention. So I have it on a list for like binging, but I haven't had binge time. So I haven't had the opportunity to binge it. But I am like, especially with you talking about it more, I'm very excited to jump in.
Yeah, it's a fascinating show, and it actually has prompted me. I've started collecting the books now, so I'm gonna start reading the books as well.
Nice.
You mentioned House of Dragons. Remind me, that's the like prequel to like Game of Thrones, right? Is that correct? Yeah.
Yes. Actually, Urania got me into it. Like, I basically was like, oh, well, do I have to watch all of the Game of Thrones to watch the House of Dragons? She was like, no. And it's like 3 seasons. So, like, you don't have to, like, binge watch a bunch of stuff. It's not going to take 2 years to finish it. So I got into the prequel, but I haven't seen the Game of Thrones yet. So don't
Yeah.
hate me.
Well, it's like I watched House of Dragon, but I don't know if I watched it and wasn't paying attention to dreams at that point. So you mentioned that they actually bring up dreams in House of
Oh,
Dragon.
yeah.
This is like forgotten them on me. Maybe it was because we were meant to have this conversation, but
Yeah, they definitely bring up the topic of dreams. And we had done so I believe we were talking about season one
Yeah,
or
it was in the first
two.
season. It was in the first season. It was when what is his name? Great. It was when he was one of the main characters
the
was
king
in
was
the
it the
castle. No, the king's brother. I
The
cannot
yeah, the
remember
brother.
the
Matt Smith.
brother. Matt. Well, that's the actor's
That's the
name.
guy. I know
Yeah.
the actor's name. I don't
So
know.
I don't remember his character's name. I can't think of it offhand right now. But basically, he was in the haunted castle,
Oh,
the castle Harrenhal.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
yep, yep.
yeah.
And so he was having a lot of like really distorted dreams. Actually, the woman who was like, I guess was a witch, and it's even questionable if she was even like an actual like person in that castle, was entering into his dream space. So there's definitely dream walking in it. And it was hard even through the episodes, because it went on for a couple episodes where it was hard to decipher, okay, is he dreaming or is this actually happening? And he was experiencing that confusion like in the show, the episode. So yeah, it was really good, and I'm gonna have to watch it again now.
I don't think I
Yeah.
watched the second season. Like, because
I don't think you did. Yeah,
we had the conversation before the
it was at the end of
it was
the
before the
first season.
podcast even was a thing, like, because we would do our chat, we did our chats for like, I don't know, like 9 months before we even had the podcast.
Yeah.
And I know we had talked about it, and we were prepping for the second season and what like these dreams were going to, like, how it was going to lay out for the second season. And I remember like just dropping off. I guess I didn't want to I don't know. Sometimes my brain is like, if I watch this second season, then I might be, I don't know, disappointed or whatever it may be. Whatever my brain
Wasn't
was.
the second season was, yeah. Anyways, that's for a different conversation. But considering I just want to like mention what you shared about the Wheel of Time. Now I haven't seen it, but it makes me think about in waking life how in waking life, but my dream space, I have had what felt like demonic or like really heavily negative entities come into my dream space. And when that happens, I'm always like in the in between. And so it's hard for me to like realize if I'm like dreaming or not. Like, it's like, or if I'm because I'm like awake, it's always in my home when that happens. So it's like I'm dreaming, but I'm not, like I'm in my actual space.
Are you referencing like when you've experienced like sleep paralysis?
It'll happen in those time, but like not even in that point. Like it's like I'm like having a battle. Like I call it my spiritual battles because it's in the in-between space. And I'm like,
yeah,
I can tell like they're in my dreams and they're always like very antagonizing. And so I'm like yelling mantras at them, or it's a whole dynamic, but it always happens. And sometimes after that, I will wake up into sleep paralysis.
So like in the hypnagogic state,
Yeah,
you would say like that liminal.
yeah,
That's so
kind of, but it's
interesting.
like, but I'm
Yeah.
still more asleep than like kind of
Then
awake.
awake. Yeah. I
Yeah, so
completely
it's
understand
really
what you're
weird.
talking about with
Yeah.
that.
But
Because
it's always, oh, sorry, but I
no,
just
no,
want
no,
to say it's
yeah,
always like when that always happens when it's like a negative like entity.
mm-hmm,
And I'm convinced that it's actually like it's not a dream.
mm-hmm.
It's, just in another realm of the astral, maybe. I don't know, but it's definitely, and it's always in my home. Like it's never in a different location. It's in, yeah, like
So
in the bedroom. Yeah, in the home space.
that happens to me when I'm in the transitional space, that hypnagogic space from waking to asleep. I hear people in my room. I hear people walking around my room. And like I hear it too when I'm awake, not quite in the hypnagogic, but I notice that when I'm in the hypnagogic, it's exasperated. Like almost like the merging of places, or like what you're able to sense in that space versus the waking. Yeah, the waking.
It's either the merging of spaces or it's you consciously accessing the higher dimensions or other dimensions, maybe, where these
Could be both.
these things are existing. Oh my goodness. So resonates with me. I definitely have had these spiritual battles as well. So much so that they have literally tried to come into my energetic field, which is not a fun experience. But what I have learned on this journey of that, because each time these things happen is some kind of learning experience for you to go through. And we actually did an episode with, I think it's episode 30 with Sarah Xanthos that talked a lot about, it touched on this a little bit. She's talking about it more from like a kid's perspective and when kids have night terrors and nightmares and stuff. And it usually ends up happening when they're in a low vibrational frequency going into sleep. So they're ending up in lower vibrational dream realms or whatnot. When it comes to like entities and stuff, that negative entities that can come, it's often because there's some part of you that needs some sort of healing. So whether it's something, whether it's some trauma or some anxiety, there's some aspect of you that needs healing, and that's their anchor point for them to come in. And so it gets brought up in that kind of space. So yeah. But I totally have experienced what you're experiencing with. And yeah, it's the best thing to do is to be able to recognize what needs to be healing so you can release it, transmute it, whatever you need to do. So then they no longer have an access point.
Thankfully the people who are, or whatever beings who I sense in the room and can hear walking around, they don't put out any kind of like harmful, negative like aspects. It's a weird, it's almost like a invisible, I don't know, like subway where people, I don't know, it's interesting.
No, I was just gonna say likely, and this is where Biljana and I have a connection outside of the podcast. It sounds like you actually have ley lines that run through your space, which are basically like energetic highways.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So we can talk at some point later, and we can actually have the ley lines moved out of your space and cleared up so that you're not affected by these beings and stuff. Because yes, there might be good ones there now, but bad ones can travel there too. So
I have learned for like myself personally, and I kind of, I feel like everybody's living kind of their own reality and their own existence. So different things happen to each person. But I've noticed that like with me, where my hypnagogic state when I was a kid was a lot scarier. As I've moved away from my own personal fears, the things just don't feel scary anymore for me. But that, again, that being said, like, I may just not equate that to what I'm experiencing. So I don't know. It's
No,
interesting.
I can resonate with that too.
Everybody has their own experiences and realities, and they're completely different from the next. So, like, if I fall into a space where I might be more anxious or fearful, I might have more of that come through. But I don't know. I don't know. I feel like the word of the day is interesting, because I can't seem to stop using that as my only synonym of description. But that alone, that in itself is very intriguing.
Yeah, absolutely. You mean the ley line thing, or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, you'll have to check out Lay Love Down. Just a little promotion for Lay Love Down.
I will.
Yeah. we have quite a lot of Lay Love Down connections on this podcast. It's where Biljana and I coexisted before we knew each other. We're into dreams and starting this podcast. So
cool.
we're both leaders, I guess you would say, for the organization. It was co-founded by two lovely people, Rachel Vaughn, and who's been a guest on this episode 27, and oh my goodness, he's gonna kill me. What's it? Ben Hawks. Ben Hawks. I knew his first name. I was like, what's his last name? Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, Ben. Ben Hawks. Two very wonderful souls that started this wonderful movement where it's the whole slogan is, you save the ley lines, you save the world. Where ley lines, sometimes they're known as song lines, they're known as dragon lines. They're basically the energetic meridians of Mother Earth, and they're all over, and they have been hijacked for nefarious reasons. There's often energetic sites, the most famous ones like Stonehenge, all of these like ancient sites are actually crossings of ley lines. It's where some dark rituals and things can be done, and they're often located in front of churches or where stadiums are. Hospitals are built on them. They literally exist everywhere, and negative energy has been fed into them to actually lower the vibration of Earth. And so what Lay Love Down strives to do is to just get out there, basically reverse the bad intentions, put positive energy out into these ley lines so we can bring it back and bring Mother Earth into a higher vibrational state. And it's check it
out. Is it lay like Ley love down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Laylovedown.com. Yeah, that'd be great. So we actually
and
do,
then everyone can sleep better.
Yeah, exactly. That's part of the work that's involved. And we do bi-weekly group meditations actually that you can join online. And it's a group session where we're all putting focus and tension into depending on who the facilitator is that particular week. But they're focusing on different ley lines or a different site, focusing on nature, into the trees, whatever it is. And we're just putting positive energy intent out into the ley lines.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I wasn't expecting to have a big announcement for Lay Love Down, but there you go. I guess I'm playing my role. This Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, I will be facilitating a group meditation for Lay Love Down. I can send you guys the registration links if you have time and you're interested. There's no pressure to join, of course, but we'll just put that out there. So we're good on time. I don't want to take too much more time. So now I'm like torn. I'm like, do I talk about the other media example or do I talk about the real life example? Or both?
I would say
I will have to head off soon.
Oh yeah. So maybe the real life.
So yeah.
So the real life one. So
well, you guys can keep talking without me if you want.
No, we cannot, and we cannot continue the episode without you, Biljana. I'm sorry. That would just be
Not
you're
allowed.
my co-host. You're my co-host. What would I do?
Yeah. All right. Let's go.
Okay. I'll share this. So this was a conversation I had with somebody who will remain anonymous for now. Right before this episode, because it came up about the concept of dream walking. And so this was quite some time ago. They had a magazine, and in this magazine were spells. And there were white spells and black spells. And one of them was the concept of being able to, it's something like somebody that you really wanted to be with, but I hope I'm not butchering this. They'll tell me otherwise when they see the episode. But yeah, so somebody that they wanted to be with, or that they wanted to have an interaction with or whatnot. And so the spell was, you would write your name on a popsicle stick on one side, and on the other side you'd write the person that you wanted to have this interaction with. And then you put it inside a honey jar, and then there's some kind of chant or something that you had to say about it. And then supposedly something happens when they do that. And so, they did it, didn't think much of it. And then the next day happens to run into this person that that they had written on the other side of the popsicle stick. And the person came up to him and was like, "What are you doing? Why were you in my dreams?" And apparently they have woken up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, in a state of anxiety, because this person was like so vividly in their dreams. And so that's an example of some sort of intentional dream walking by using a little bit of potential, I guess, dark magic or something that was done to do this. But yeah.
That's so funny that you mentioned that, because I had, like, yesterday, I follow this other podcast called Intuitive Girls Guide, and I had clicked on a random old episode that I was just like wanting to re-listen to, no specific one like in mind, and I clicked on the spell work one, and the honey love spell was one of the ones that was mentioned.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where, like, if you want like a deeper connection with somebody that you care about, like, doing this spell will help to kind of bring you guys together. So there's different aspects of that spell too. Like, you can even take that, the honey jar with the popsicle stick in it, and bury it in your flower bed, kind of with the influence of the flowers around to spark that love and connection. So I just thought that was really interesting, because it was like yesterday that I just picked a random episode and they had literally talked about that exact spell on it.
Clearly we were meant to have this discussion for whatever reason. And I mean, like, literally it was like 5 or 10 minutes before we got on for the podcast that I was having this conversation about that. So, like, talk about synchronistic, huh? And I didn't know the name of it.
You can't make that stuff up.
You really can't, you know?
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah, very, very fascinating. So
I would love to know the contents of that dream. I know it's personal and private, but like,
no,
yeah,
I'm interested too. And my ears are
was
like,
it
tell me
sexual? Like, was it like, I mean, it was definitely something like,
intense,
alarming in some way, and like really probably sensational, profound, if that was the reaction. It's like, why were you in my dream? Because I mean, people pop in my dream all the time, and I mean, I might think that, but I mean, and what are the odds to run into that person very soon,
like the next day?
Oh, was it? It was yeah.
It was the next day. Like, it literally was the next
wild.
day.
Wild. Yeah, be careful with your spell work, because I mean, it works. Sometimes when it works, it works. So.
Well, it's the intention, right? It's really what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this anonymous person may be on our show a little bit later. So we just got to make that happen. But they have a lot more to share dream wise. So I'm very excited to make it happen and bring them on. But I just wanted to keep it anonymous just for now.
Yeah.
But yeah, they definitely have a lot more to share with dreams. And this story comes from the perspective of the person who actually cast the spell. So I don't know if we will know the level of detail of what the dream was or not, but maybe they'll share that. But there's definitely a whole lot of other dream experiences that this person we'll share in future. So stay tuned.
They definitely have to share that one though. If they don't want to be anonymous and just to like bring closure and satisfy.
Yeah, well, I've left them anonymous because the conversation happened like very, very quickly right before the podcast that I didn't actually get full permission to kind of give credit to who they are. So I've left it anonymous for that reason.
I love the suspense. I love the mystery.
Yeah. So next, I'm just envisioning when they are actually, because I'm confident they will come on to the show. I'll be like, by the way, this is the anonymous person from episode 41. Oh my goodness. Okay, this has been a ride of a conversation. I mean, I enjoyed our first one, but I think this was like 10, 20. It's so many levels above. We've like shot through the sky and to many other universes with this episode. It's been phenomenal, and I can't thank you both enough for agreeing to be here. And I'm confident this is not the last conversation we're going to have.
Awesome.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. Do you guys have any closing thoughts that you want to share with us? Or about anything we talked about, anything that you guys have coming up with, anything?
I don't think so. I don't know. Yeah, I think we said everything in the beginning. I'm just really excited that we got to talk about this, because I don't think I really actually thought about this specifically, this type of, like dream walking, because I think I've thought about dream traveling, and we've talked to someone on our podcast about that, and also like astral travel, but like intentionally entering into someone's dream is definitely very fascinating, and I just thought it was a good conversation.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah.
I agree. And just so you guys know, this Wednesday, so October 1st, will be our first episode for season 1 or season 2, and we will be discussing day residue.
Yeah.
Ooh. Hopefully I'll get the episode up so somebody can hear that before before you have because your episodes are live, right?
Yeah.
So
but they can catch the replay too.
Yeah, you guys can always catch the replay.
Yeah. So it'll be there.
Oh, perfect. So there's no missing it then.
Yeah, it'll be there.
Perfect. Biljana, do you have any closing thoughts?
This has just been great just to catch up again and leave it open as we always do anyway. But yeah, just to chat about what's going on with our lives and like what we've been working through and everything. So it's quite good to not have it just like a normal chat how we normally do. So yeah, it's just like catching up like over coffee and stuff, just trying to work out what's going on. And because yeah, it's the things I've been pondering lately too, like those bigger questions like no one really knows, but we're trying to figure it all out. But let's just try and keep it simple. So yeah, thank you for coming on. And yeah, no, I don't think we're supposed to. Maybe it's supposed to be the mystery.
I think that we have it figured out, but not this part of our conscious. I think the bigger, the higher version of ourselves or whatever it is, the if we're all fragments having these various experiences, the collective of those fragments knows the true reality of things. But I think we're constrained by our current 3D reality is probably what the nature of it is. Because I know when I start thinking about timelines and time travel and dimensions and whatever, like the human brain just can't fully, and maybe we can, maybe we have actually been trained not to, by not having this connection to the intuitive side and to dimensions and all of that. Maybe we're shifting towards a bigger understanding of what reality actually is, because my understanding is we actually only use about 10% of our brain. So what's the other 90% doing? Is the other 90% the potential to understanding the true reality of reality?
Well, I like what, I don't know if you're familiar with Bashar, but Bashar says that like we're using the 90% of our, or the 100% of our brain to only like experience that, or to have the experience that we're only using 10% of our brain, which is kind of what you said, like our like, you know, oneness conscious or our oversoul or whatever, like has access to it all. But in this reality, I believe that we choose. So we choose to experience it in this way because there's a lot that we can learn in the becoming, like coming back to the oneness, basically, so to speak.
Yeah, I can resonate with that for sure.
Yeah. So it's like a part of the game, and it makes it a little hard, you know. Like if we had it all figured out, we would just, you know.
Well, then there wouldn't exactly be a full point other than if you've chosen to be here to help bring others to that awareness and to that oneness or whatnot. But yeah. Oh, very cool. Thank you again to both of you. This again has been an absolute pleasure. It has been a dream to have this experience with you. As always, thank you to our dear listeners. This podcast does not happen without you. I don't know if we've officially announced we've hit over 100 subscribers. So thank you. Thank you to all of our listeners and subscribers. We greatly appreciate each and every one of you, and especially the ones who've not found us yet. You will find us. And if you'd like to be a guest on our show, please just reach out to us through our website, dreamoracleforyou.com. We also have a dream portal where you can share dreams, thoughts, ideas, also accessible through our website. And we do have a course coming up. It's actually starting this Saturday/Sunday if you're in Australia. So you can find information about that on our website as well. This is the first iteration of a dream interpretation course that Biljana and I will be running. It's a 4-week course that happens on the weekends. And we have, there will be more coming with the courses. We don't know when the next iteration will be, but so stay tuned for that. And I think that's all the announcements. Once again, thank you to Urania. Thank you, Alexis. It's beautiful having you here. Thank you to our listeners and everyone. Please just keep on dreaming.